If you are a current business owner, you're thinking of starting a business, or you've ever worked within the world of marketing and communications, you know trends are always changing, evolving. It's hard sometimes to stay up to date,
Okay.
or it can just be overwhelming with all of the opportunities we now have with marketing and communication tools. So we have a panel of professionals. Some of them, it's questionable whether they're professionals. I'm not looking at Aaron specifically at all. But we do have a panel of professionals who are going to give us some insights. And you have a great group up here who, if you were to pay for some of their services as small businesses, sometimes that's hard to do that. So we encourage you to think of questions. If we have time, we will open the floor for questions. So to get us started, everyone, we know you've got everyone's name in your program and where they work, but I'm going to ask each of the panel members just to say real quick, maybe some of your experience and history in marketing. We're going to keep it just to 15, 20 seconds for this part. Okay. So Aaron, we'll start with you. What's some of your experience in marketing? Why should we listen to our panel today?
I have just a couple of minutes in marketing. We've been in it for about 10 years. It comes from a failed IT company, so we're very technical driven. Probably I shouldn't say that, but there's no real failures. You just kind of learn and you move through it. We started as a web development company and specialize in digital ads, social media and everything. So video was something we added a couple of years ago. We've got an office, foundation is here in Beaumont, and we also have a second location outside of Atlanta, Georgia. So that's Aaron with ARC.
Perfect.
My name is Lauren Bebeau. I was born and raised in Beaumont, Texas. And around 2016, I created a food Instagram. So you could call me a food influencer, I guess, if you will. Nobody was really doing that at the time. I wrote about restaurants for the newspaper, and by interviewing them, I learned that they all hated social media. They wanted to run businesses. They didn't want to do the marketing. And so I connected the dots and created my own agency, Passion PR, so that they could hire me to run it for them. And through that, I started doing corporate sales for 2 delivery apps, Waiter, and then I worked for HEB's Favor app for 5.5 years. And in August, I left that and went all in on my own business. So I mainly work with restaurants, nightclubs, concert venues, all the fun stuff, and help them drive business. That's what I do.
My name is Ashla Taylor, and I was born and raised here in Orange, Texas. I graduated from Lamar University in 2019 with a degree in marketing. I have been in marketing in various roles for the past 10 years now at several small businesses managing their social media pages. And currently I'm nestled at a innovative heating, cooling, and plumbing. We're a full service HVAC and plumbing company where I manage the social media. I have been a part of 2 rebrands for 2 different small businesses that I have worked for. And Innovative went through their first major rebrand last year. And growing small businesses has always been my mission and passion.
Fantastic. So you can see that we have a wide range of experiences and kind of expertise up here, which is great. Actually, something we've talked about before is budgeting. When it comes to small businesses, sometimes we're operating on a tight budget and it's hard to determine where we're going to prioritize our time. So if you did have a business you were talking to, how would you recommend they focus on their marketing efforts on a tight budget?
So a lot of small businesses, when I talk to them, they don't know where to start with marketing. And there is a ton of resources out in the community that they're in that they can get involved. Getting involved, networking with a lot of influencers in your community is a great free organic resource that you can use. Another option is also social media. I would say as a new business, social media is very hard to start up though and get your brand out there. But if you have employees or yourself, boots on the ground in your community is going to be the best organic option that you can do as a small business.
Fantastic. And Aaron, I know you work with a variety of sized businesses, so not just small businesses. I think a misperception we have sometimes is because we're a small business, we don't have a large budget. But actually, some small businesses, the revenue they're bringing in, they may have a larger budget for marketing. What are some thoughts you might have on how businesses need to operate and focus on, again, think about budgets for where they might focus on.
So the best way for me to answer that, I'm gonna follow on top of what she was saying. So people don't know where to start. So when you start marketing, it's more important to start marketing before advertising. If you start advertising first and there's no stickiness to where they're landing, whether it's on your website or your social media page, you're wasting those advertising dollars. So really and like you said, it's hard to build your brand. What is a brand? Do you even know what a brand is? Is it just a logo to a small business? It really is just a logo and opening doors. What's more than that? It's your imagery, it's your colors, it's your fonts. But you can simply do by getting those down and making consistent posts on social media. As you heard in the 2 panels before, when the guys were talking about building business, they hate Facebook, but they don't hate it. It's your TV platform for your social media, for your company. You get a voice there. Say who you are, what you do, how you cook your hamburger, how you service your customers, and put that information on there. So that is very important. Once you have that kind of stabilized, then start your advertising dollars, and they could be small, and then you can grow those, because big brands have big dollars, but they didn't start with big dollars. They started with a fundamental program of some basics, and the basics get you way farther. You know, that's what I recommend.
We keep hearing a lot of people say we hate social media. Ashla said it. Aaron has said it. I know, Lauren, you've said that before. It both started off in that, right? Small businesses started hiring you because they used that term. So if you were, if we think about social media and how we might start on a small budget, use social media over a period of time to grow our brand, Lauren, what's a strategy we could use for that?
Well, first off, when I meet with a business, I'm going to ask them what point of sale system they use, because all the sales go through that, and you want to use data to drive business decisions. So depending on what you're using, you could save a customer phone number, an email. Depending on your budget, you can afford the systems to tap into that stuff. Facebook and Instagram are free to create for any business. That's really how I got my start. I specialize in organic social media, not necessarily paid ads. So it's like maintaining an online presence that people are interested in, educating the people on your product, solving a problem definitely helps. Now, in the restaurant industry, most people eat 3 times a day. So, you get a good chance to kind of reach them. But putting out anything is great. It's better than nothing. And marketing is all about just taking chances. Not everything is going to work. And if you're watching the data on your posts and conversions on, things that you're doing, then you kind of know the direction where to go with things like that. So I think all of it is very important.
Really like that visa, making sure you're fully using any of the tools you already have. So whether you're starting with your POS system, moving on to social media, other platforms. If we have been active, thinking about it, if you do have social media, you're using the tools that you already have. Sometimes it can get really monotonous trying to keep up, be creative, keep those things running. What are y'all's thoughts on, how do you stay creative? How do you keep fresh content out there, whether it's social media or your overall marketing strategy? Talking about products or especially, services. You're in a service-based industry, and that can be hard to translate.
Yes, absolutely. We are a full service based company, so we are out there competing with other companies, and we want our customers to be choosing us when they need us the most. So in the trades industry, it can be very up and down. It can be very inconsistent. But if you market well, you can be consistent throughout the year. And we do that by forecasting. How are our customers going to find us when it's not 100 degrees out? But how are they going to think about us when it is 100 degrees out and their air conditioning system breaks? So we plan a lot in our off season with billboards, marketing on social media, providing offers. And content plan is what keeps us going as far as our motivation for getting our brands out there. A lot of it can be very generic, and you'll see that in the service industry because marketing is not their main priority in their business because they don't find the value in it. And something that Innovative has done is really put marketing at the front of the business so that way we can keep going, we can keep growing. And so we always content plan. We even get inspiration from other companies that may be out of state. We collaborate with local businesses for giveaways. We always try to do something in our community that can give us ideas to not only post about, but create connections with people in the community as well.
I really like that creating connections piece. Um, Something that can be overwhelming as we talk about social media. Let's get a little bit specific too, because sometimes it's hard to figure out which platforms to use first. There's so many. Do I need to be on all of them as a small business? Do I need to focus in on just a few? Aaron, I think y'all work with some businesses well in helping them focus what social media priorities or channels should they prioritize. You know, if we have a small business who was sitting here, where would you maybe help them start?
So I may reference my notes on this just because I want to make sure I get the core principles of things that we do for you guys. So we're really going to foundationally start on 4 things. It's going to veer just a touch off of social media for a second. The 4 foundational pieces that every business needs is a website. It needs to be mobile friendly and it needs to be direct messaging and user friendly. So within 2 clicks, they're at where they need to be or they're gone. It's a real, that is on, just want to make sure. It's a real simple process, but it's complicated to do. But if you don't put something up, you're never going to start refining it. That is my biggest thing that I can tell a small business. Number 2, your Google My Business listing. You may not consider it social media, but at one point in time, it was considered a social media type platform. You need to own that information and it needs to be exactly right all the time. You will put your information and then forget about it. The problem is Google is an aggregator. And if you don't put that right there, it's going to aggregate wrong everywhere. And so with that information, just think about it being an aggregator. It's not one thing, it's 4,000 directories. So that's a simple SEO piece. The website is a simple SEO piece too, which means keywords, content, and finding things. So it's very important, like you're saying, consistency. Number 3, I'm going to say social media platforms. Still, Facebook and Instagram are killers. So don't go out and do every platform with social media. Do 1 or 2 and just rock them. And you might as well do Instagram and Facebook because if you're you, the small business, you can do all your timed events and planning within that platform to post to both. And the last thing that I'm going to say is content. You just need it. Okay. So Canva is a fantastic tool for people getting into it. It helps you be an elevation above, right? So a lot of what marketing companies do, and we can all attest to this, you've already heard it. I don't know if you've actually heard it, but we've said it. We just need consistency. Then you need to look at the data, review it, and post. The ads, the advertising piece, because we're talking about marketing, the advertising piece is the focus point. But if your marketing is not good, they won't associate with you. They won't feel you and understand who you are. So those are kind of the things that we start with as for foundational pieces for our companies.
Great. We keep hearing that, like Ashla said too, like that marketing planning, the overall look, and then you kind of narrow into the different platforms and tools that you're using. Now you mentioned content, Aaron, and a key word there, that consistent content piece can be so challenging. Lauren, you've created a huge amount of content over the years, and not only as an individual user, but also becoming an influencer, especially in the food and beverage space. So, you know, what are your thoughts on content creation, whether or not it's valuable for a small business to work with an influencer type personality? Is that local? Is that national? You know, what's your thoughts on that content piece?
So I specialize in Facebook and Instagram for local businesses. And if you remember when TikTok came about, everyone was like, gotta get on TikTok. You could get millions of followers, but if you're a local restaurant, that's not necessarily going to help you with your sales. So that's kind of where I am with that. I love photography. Not all social media people are photographers. A lot of them outsource it. I just so happen to love both. When I go into a business, I'm a creative. Like I can be in a restaurant and see how I want it to look online. And I think I do a pretty good job at it. It's all about storytelling to me. You want to share the who, what, and why the business owner created the business and bring that online, because people will spend where there's like passion and purpose. That's how I feel about it. And every time I work with a business, I'll go out, I'll take a bunch of photos, and we start building a catalog. So we can always go back to all of the photos and everything we did before and use that to schedule posts. And so, over time, you've got a lot of stuff to work with. And in social media, you can repurpose content. You can use photos, you turn them into Insta stories and send people to your website or to a delivery app to order food. That's a lot of what I do. Or to sell concert tickets, like things like that. So find someone on your team that's good at taking photos. And I use my iPhone. Like, I don't have a fancy camera. I've done everything with my iPhone. And a lot of people are shocked by that. But it's like, you got to use the tools that you have, you can afford. That's what I like to use. And what turns to operate for me. And I know other people can replicate that just as well. And you can use like ChatGPT to help you come up with captions if you're not the best writer, and use relevant hashtags. Really, I started my whole brand with my food influencer by using the hashtag, and with hopes that restaurants would start using it, and they did. And so that's kind of how, you just never know what works until it does. So kind of shoot your shot. And if it doesn't, you just move on to the next thing.
Hearing you talk about passion and purpose, now I know where you got your business name from, right? Yeah.
Can I add one more thing that I don't know why I forget this and I knew I would. The most powerful ROI tool in all of marketing is still an email marketing platform. Lauren mentioned earlier she focuses on the web POS system. Whether you're retail, restaurant, or you're service based, you're gathering that information. The reason email marketing is powerful is because it's almost free. So you can sign up for the free versions, but I highly recommend you get a business type email marketing platform, which costs, I don't know, no more than $150 for 15 to 20,000 email names. So you're getting much greater. You're getting automatic backups. You're getting more technologies, heat mapping, open rates. You may not look at those for 6 months to a year, but if you do at least one email a month, all your people get to see exact messaging that you want. It's very, very powerful. And a lot of the email marketing tools have an SMS marketing on it. We stayed away from SMS for a long time because I just don't like text message marketing. Sorry, text message marketing. So we stayed away from it because I just didn't like the inundation into my phone. But I think it can be very tastefully done. And if you have a nice program, definitely for reminder dates or things that are coming up, like selling tickets, it can be quickly sent out. So I would highly, highly recommend email marketing, and email marketing more than SMS messaging.
I'm gonna pick on you for a second, Aaron.
Okay.
As I look at the ladies on the panel. So I know Aaron and his team have a fantastic studio, lots of great equipment. Lauren, you just mentioned you do everything on your iPhone. Thinking about tools like even email marketing, like Aaron was talking about, tools that we've been mentioning, platforms. So Lauren, you use iPhone. Ashla, do y'all have a fancy big production system for your business, or
So we have a CRM software called Service Titan that pretty much runs our whole business, and we've watched it grow throughout the 5 years that we've been on it. It actually has a marketing pro platform within it, and it does the things like Aaron says, email marketing, SMS marketing, because those are the tools that make it easier for us in the office to automate those types of things. As someone in marketing, it's hard to do it all, especially whenever you're running in a company doing a lot of other things, wearing lots of other hats. So the more you can automate, the better it is. So as far as pictures go, I go out in the field, I'm bringing my iPhone. We really don't have to use all the fancy things, but getting the good images of our guys. Every so often we'll get a photographer out there, but for the most part, everything's taken on my iPhone as well. But the software that we use is very high tech as far as our marketing platforms. It runs analytics, Google Ads. So that way, all the things that we are running on the back end are super transparent, which is super important being in marketing, especially if you don't understand the analytics side of marketing. You want to see your ROI on your ads that you are running to make sure you're getting your values worth. We also use something called tracking numbers on various marketing pieces that we use, direct mail pieces. If we're giving out something at an event, you'll notice that it may have a different phone number on it. Those are called tracking numbers for our company. And we can see when customers use that specific phone number to give us a call, and we know that that specific marketing piece works for us.
Fantastic. At one point with all of this, we keep talking about a variety of tools, and one of the points is you just need to start, right? Whatever tool you currently have, whether that is a POS or it's an iPhone or maybe a more sophisticated customer management software. The point is you just got to start somewhere. And sometimes as small business owners, like Ashla said, you're being pulled in a variety of directions. You have to do 5 different job roles within your business because, you may be a small company right now. But the point is you just got to pick a priority, get started. And then as you get more comfortable with that particular tool, it kind of breaks some of the barriers and you can go beyond that. So real quick, just to kind of get a poll of who we have in the room and what kind of platforms you're using, I'm going to ask you to stand up if you currently use social media for your business, and then stay standing for just a second. We're also the panel right before lunch, guys. I did not agree to that when I said I would moderate this. Okay, so stay standing if you sit down if the only thing you use is Facebook. If you only use Facebook, go ahead and sit down. Okay, if you use only Facebook and Instagram and you're not no other platforms, go ahead and sit down. Okay, so y'all are using at least social media as a platform. That's pretty good. Anyone on TikTok, raise your hands up for me. Lauren, they're on TikTok. Okay, great. Y'all can all sit down. Thank you. What about anyone who's currently, if you're using email marketing directly to customers or potential customers, would you stand up for us? Direct email customers or potential customers. Okay, cool. Awesome. Great.
I've got a question. Show of hands. I'm not going to make the extra exercise go on. Who believes that websites are still relevant?
Cool deal.
Okay, that's good.
Awesome. Cool. In a minute, we're going to open it up for questions from the audience. So if you have a direct question for one of our panel members or for everybody, start thinking about that. We're not quite there yet, but just kind of a good way to kind of reset, figure out who we've got in the ring. Okay. Now, Lauren, something we touched on TikTok, all these different platforms, whether influence marketing is worth it, maybe not. Sometimes, like Ashla said, you can just certainly use the employees you have within the company. Right now, we're kind of in an interesting time where people are cutting back on budgets, cutting back on, trying not to spend a whole lot of extra money right now. What would you say to businesses that they need to shift their strategy during, an economic downturn or various events going on? What are your thoughts on that?
So being in the restaurant industry, I've worked with, high-end brands and low-end brands, or in terms of what they're selling. Like right now, $150 steak dinner isn't really going to reach as many people as like a burger pack for $20. So, and especially when COVID hit, it was helping restaurants come up with family meals, things that provide value, that you're still able to reach your customer, but you're kind of changing what you originally thought that you were going to do. It's really important to be able to pivot and just don't stay stuck where you're at. The internet is great to learn different things. I'm always looking at bigger cities and seeing what influencers and social media marketers are doing. and how we can bring that to our area, because we are a little bit behind the times in terms of things. You know, I would meet with restaurant owners with 1 location or 100 locations, and, you know, they're still not saving customer data at all, which could, you know, which is a gold mine, like Aaron said. Really, you want to provide value. And I mean, that's the most important thing, and finding allies in the community. When I started, I worked really closely with our tourism bureau. You know, they're responsible for promoting the city in which we live, and that includes the businesses and restaurants. And our tourism bureau is funded on hotel tax. So, you know, they've got to be doing things to be able to get people to come to the city. And we started a restaurant week like 6 years ago, and that didn't exist before. And we were able to, you know, reach a lot of owners and kind of see where they were at. And I also learned that a lot of people, you know, they kind of gatekeep information, which is, it's sad. I understand, you know, it's a competitive nature. It's great that we have things like this where we're all able to share knowledge that we have, and find your allies. And then there's also Facebook groups, you know, like for the industries I work with, like the restaurant review groups and things like that are a great asset. They've got tons of followers, things like that.
Awesome. With some of those allies and followers, I often think about you have to find those people that you can build those connections with that we've talked about, those relationships, but you end up building that trust before, you know, with your customers, or at least within the community, that helps get you through some of those difficult times, right? So thinking about especially service-based businesses, think air conditioning, I'm thinking about my home. I'm going to trust someone to come into my home with various marketing communication tools. I can learn more about a business, see their faces, whether it's on social media, a direct text message, or email. And I start feeling like, oh, I can trust them to come into my home to work on my air conditioning, right? So, Ashla, when you're thinking about your industry, how do you build that trust with your audience? And do they help you then get through a difficult time?
Yes, that's a great question. So, in the service industry, especially in the trades, it's not glamorous by any means. And 5 years ago, when I stepped in that office, I said, what did I get myself into? Because I came from a boutique where it was a girls' world and I got to play in clothes all day. And I stepped into hot, sweaty guys, and I'm like, what is this? And so,
Terrible. That's not a lot.
yeah, that's just,
Imagine it's at least has to be.
so over time, I really got to appreciate where I worked, because these guys are in your attics. Your attics are 140 degrees at least in the summertime. You have to give some respect to what these guys do, because it's a hard job. No one wants to do it. That's why you call a company like us to fix your air conditioner. Air conditioner. So when you want someone in your home, you want someone you can trust, first of all. It may be your child that's 18 or older, or your wife that you're leaving at home, or maybe it's your grandma. You want someone that you can trust in their home, with you not having to necessarily be there if you can't. So a lot of the things that we do with our brand is make sure that, first of all, we're personable. So when you look us up on Facebook, you're going to see our team on social media. You're not going to see the images that you get from Google that are very generic. You're going to see pictures of our people that are coming into your home, because you should be able to be identifiable when you show up. Our brand is very prominent. We come to your home professionally dressed. We make sure we pass background checks. If you read our Google reviews, most people these days, when they're a new customer and they're thinking about calling you, they're going to Google you first. So first of all, when you are a small business, you want to make sure that you come up on Google, first of all, as one of the top 3 is what we like to see. And you have Google reviews that are relevant and current from your customers. The best thing that we have found is when our customers actually specifically name that technician that came out to their home, because that new customer could be calling and say, hey, I would like this person to come to my home because I've read several Google reviews about this person. So I will always recommend that you keep a prominent brand on your Google page, because a lot of people will go to Google. A lot of people will go to Facebook for recommendations. So you want to make sure that your Facebook page looks very professional as well.
There's kind of that balance nowadays because we've got so many tools that aren't specific to our business. So having those pictures of your team members where and those Google reviews that are naming people who work with your business is so important, so people know who they're working with. At the same time, we also have a lot new tools, right? AI is a big buzzword. That's a phrase that's used that you hear a lot of conferences. People are talking about how they use it. I know I was talking to Ben from ARC a few minutes ago as we came in about the efficiency artificial intelligence allows us to have, but maybe what are some tools we can use as small businesses to have that personal connection, those photos of our real people. But then also, I mean, Lauren, you mentioned being able to write captions with Chat GPT or some other tool. Aaron, are you seeing small businesses being able to use AI for their business where they maybe meld that personal, genuine with AI?
Yeah, so that's first of all, who's using AI currently? Show of hands. Is it for email marketing, newsletters, pictures? Is anybody using it for pictures? Okay.
Seen some.
Yeah, right there. AI is going to touch on a couple of things. You need a cheaper budget, start working with AI. If you're not working with AI, you're going to be out of sync. Think about it. 18 months ago, AI was kind of introduced to us a little bit. In 18 months now there's agent models. They're predicting the next billionaire by one person owner because of the AI models that are going to be out there now in 18 months. So it'll be a one-man shop run with AI tools, which is a little bit scary to think of, right? But really what it allows us to do is scalability and affordability. So using Chat GPT, and that's the biggest one for me to talk about right here, because I think everybody's familiar with it in the last 18 months. You need to train Chat GPT to talk in your brand. You need to ask Mr. GPT or Mrs., 15 questions, 10 to 15 questions about how you want to scale it, have it interview you, and then also have it talk in people that your voices, right? So I want to use, don't criticize me for this, Elon Musk for innovation, Dr. Seuss for creativity. I like Gene Wickman, which is traction. There's a bunch of books I've written by Gene Wickman. There was an artist, a music artist that someone loves. So you can have a board of directors that Chat GPT will remember if you put that in there. And remember, it's only a tool. Do not put what you get out of Chat GPT directly on those feeds. It's a tool. It needs to be polished. You need to take it off there and then do whatever you want with it, but make sure you double check it before you do that. So we like AI. We're utilizing it quite a bit, but it's still just a tool.
Lauren, your face said something when he said, make sure you take it and you don't just directly copy and paste it. But you looked like you were like, oh my gosh, yes.
Well, when you work, I'm a one-woman shop. I don't have a team. And when I have, like 15 accounts that I'm running, you do kind of get brain dead. You get fogged. You're like, oh, okay. It's easy to be lazy. So definitely great point. Don't be lazy. Go in there, add some of your own flair, because that's what makes you stand out.
Your own flair, your own voice for your business. Because the worst thing, going back to trust, right? If you are interacting with customers or potential customers and they don't see any consistency, even if they're not, I think oftentimes we think, well, they're going to be nitpicking words. It's not that they're going to nitpick, it's that over a period of time, they're going to understand who you are as a business if you stay authentic to who you are, what your business represents, and how you want to provide great customer service, right?
And Rebekah, to add to AI, we use it in the office as well, but we use it a little bit differently. And when Lauren talks about you getting brain dead, you get that writer's block, you truly do as a marketer, especially if you as a business owner are doing the marketing, you don't know where to start. One of my favorite things about AI is being able to ask the question, ChatGPT, how can I plan content about the summertime and I need 10 posts? You can use it in that way. It's not just about coming up with captions or verbiage. It's actually creating ideas for your business that you can use those as a tool, like they said, and run with that and create your own from it. So don't just think of it as writing copy for you. It's also a tool to give you ideas on how to create your next event, how to network in your community. Where do I start? You can ask it all these things to give you a starting place to go in marketing.
I'm going to jump in one more thing here. So one of my really good friends has a business. And so again, it was coming back to the brain dead thing, and we're doing tips and tricks. We do posting for him on his social media. So I need you to understand, unless you have a technology piece that is crucial to your business or your aspect, service tips on how to clean your AC unit is a great piece of information out there. So for instance, we put in tips and tricks to how to clean a pool. And this was a pool guy, and he was frustrated with that. He goes, "You're giving away our trade secrets." I'm like, any Google search can come up with this. So don't overthink what you're doing is that amazing. But again, what is the purpose of marketing? It's just to make sure it's authentic. Innovative Air has a very strong brand, and everything she mentions is very complicated to pull off. From the uniforms to the hats to the trucks to everything you see is very together, and that is huge project, but it starts somewhere. A brand is a logo in the beginning to the person that has a food truck, and it's your food quality. So just don't overthink what you're doing. It's not double top secret unless it really is.
Start somewhere and stay consistent.
Yeah.
Right. Now, something with that, thinking about free tips and, tools that you can use, or, if you could do a Google search, how do I clean my pool? I often tell clients too, what's your most frequently asked question? What's the question that people call you and ask you about your business or your industry that you tell them the answer for free over the phone, and you think, we get that call every single day, right? Then that's a series of posts, or whether it's a page on your website, an email campaign, a text message reminder if it's that spring and you need to do kind of a relook at your AC before you get into the heat of the summer, right? What's your most frequently asked questions that you wish people would stop calling and asking you, right? Even if it's, when are y'all open? Do y'all work weekends, right? Do you have a after hours service if you're a service-based business? So we're going to open it up to some questions. If anyone has one, we've got Brian in the back who's got a microphone so that everyone can hear what the question is. Don't let that intimidate you, because I know when you have someone a microphone, they get scared. Yes, ma'am.
So my question, I think, is for Lauren. Yes. What content planning platform do you use to, pre-plan for your content to be pushed out?
So I mainly schedule everything through Meta Business Suite, which combines Facebook and Instagram in one. Now, I think it's very important that you also log in Instagram on its own, because then you can attach links and convert your post to sales. Otherwise, you're just putting out a pretty picture or information. But you ultimately, with marketing, you want to lead the customer on a journey where you capture something from them in order to get the sale, or something that leads to a sale later on.
Hi, we are tutoring. We are online tutoring organization, and we provide tutoring from kindergarten till college. So since we are online, we serve all over US. So my question is, how do we pick the areas where we do Google marketing or Facebook marketing? Because doing an umbrella can be ineffective or very costly.
So here I would look at it as a niche market. So first of all, how long I would look at all my website analytic data, right? Where are you currently getting your hits from? Where are you most successful currently right now? So we would totally do however long that you have historically with your website data and go from there. Then I would break out We would look to see what business, if you have a CRM system, like we were operating Zoho, you may have Salesforce, you may have a system that's similar, like a POS system. We would see what services correlate to where those market hits if you were doing more math tutoring specifically in this environment. And then we would do social media ads. We would probably come back and run an ad campaign based in that one niche market, which is something that is so cool in the digital front. You get to be very niche and you get to test, right? I wouldn't only do one ad set. I would do probably 3 ad sets and see which one, because sometimes the ad will work. Your wording's just wrong. You don't know that if you never have A/B testing. So you really just need to look at your website data and see what's going on with correlation to your website data to what services you're selling, and start with your best one. If you don't really have any idea what tutoring service are you selling the most to that target niche, and then just test market that in markets that are smaller, because you don't want to take on Houston or Dallas. I mean, the ad budget for there is ridiculous. If you have a smaller budget, know that you have $1,000 or $1,500 a month, and let's target Beaumont to Lake Charles, or let's target city sizes with that size MSA and see if that works for you. That's how we would start with it.
And I do want to add to that, as a business owner, don't try to figure it out yourself. Lean on people like our marketing, who are the professionals that can figure it out for you, because paying a company to be the professionals at what they do is worth way more than you spending time trying to figure it out.
Yeah, it's something that's, I think we have a good like marketing environment here in Southeast Texas overall. Overall, we have a lot of good marketing firms, advertising firms that work well together as well. It's not just, Lauren focuses on a particular piece. Art has a much broader breadth of services. And then there's other really great companies out there too that can partner all together and generally play well with each other, which is nice. Because the goal is, as marketing professionals, our goal is always to help our clients grow and make more money. They see the value in the services we're providing, so then they spend more with us too. So it's a circle, right? So that's our overall goals. Did we have another question, Brian?
Hi, my name is Vonnie. I recently took over my family business, and I do have a question, but I first want to validate what they're saying about social media and specifically Facebook, because we are a food truck with an outdoor casual eating space, and I'm basically doing what Lauren is doing, but on my own, and there is a very noticeable difference in foot traffic after we make a post including our food or anything like that. There will be a double in our sales at the end of the day. We notice the people showing up. It starts with your friends and your family sharing your posts, and that opens you up to the eyes of more people that you don't know. And Facebook has been very important to my business and grows. The community shows up. They like to try out the new business and they want to eat at the small restaurants. But my question is for someone who didn't go to school for any of this. Can you define the difference between what marketing is and what advertising is? Because you keep bringing them up as if they're separate things, but I don't know the difference between the two of them.
But wait, before you get rid of the microphone, what's the name of the food truck?
It's Sneaky Pete's.
Sneaky Pete.
For the patio.
Everybody go get your phone out and go follow Sneaky Pete's, because she was brave enough to get on a microphone.
Thank you.
And congratulations on being a second generation of a family business. That's not easy. So when you think about marketing, it's overall, right? So it's all the activities that it takes to bring your product or service to market. So in marketing, we think about the 4 P's of marketing: place your product, right? So the service or product that you're offering, the place that it's being offered. Do you have a physical location? Do you go to people's homes? The price it's offered at, and then promotion. So you can ask ChatGPT about the 4 P's of marketing, and then say, I want you to act like a university professor and give me a 20-minute outline for a lecture on the 4 B's of marketing, and it'll spit you out an outline. You can at least kind of get a general idea. So within advertising, That's part of the promotions piece of marketing. So marketing, the crazy thing to think about is marketing includes, as Aaron mentioned, your uniforms, right? Are they consistent? Are the colors that you're using for all of your marketing activities, your promotions, how your even your food truck is set up? Is it all cohesive? Does it make sense for your brand? So promotion and advertising is just a small piece of the overall marketing activities. So anything that takes, even supply chain logistics fall into marketing when we think about business.
Can I?
Yes, sir.
Congratulations on taking over the family business. That's awesome. When I meet with a food-based business, I want to hit 4 pillars. So you want to hit the on-premise sales, the off-premise sales, delivery, and catering. Now, you might not do all those things. Catering is a lot where the money's at in food-based industry, but if you think about those 4 things, that'll give you some content to post throughout the month.
Fantastic. Do we have maybe time for one last question?
So this wasn't planned. I'm sorry, but I don't have a business just yet. But they listed me as an owner, so
Hey,
I am in the middle of the planning portion right now. And if anyone wants to come and help me and give me advice, that would be amazing. Thank you.
thank you. Fantastic. So if anyone's in business, make sure you go talk to, what was your name?
Zach Ears.
Zach. Thank you, Zach. I know we've got a lot of different resources on the perimeter of the room for new businesses as well. So we're wrapping up. So Ashla, let's start with you. Any last, you have to tell the audience this, or last pieces of information as we close out this panel.
So in closing, I want to remind you as a small business to focus on your brand piece of your company. Remember your why you're in business. For us, it's more than placing boxes and turning it on and making your house cool, but it's helping people. So remember why you're in business, who you're in business for, and what your meaning behind it, because that'll keep your business going, that'll keep your drive going. And that's a big part of marketing who you are as well.
Definitely everything she said. Some days are better than others. Just don't give up. Use the internet as a resource to get creative. Not everything is going to work, but just keep trying, and I think that'll help you succeed. And find good allies in your community so you don't feel, alone in your journey.
So I already forgot your name, but she brought up a very important part of marketing as a whole. Organic. I talk a lot about organic because you don't understand the power of it after 2 years. Okay. So it's one of the most powerful tools that are out there. To get that, you need engagement, right? So you're having your friends, your family. That's how it helps. Getting people our messages, where Lauren has mentioned, oh my gosh, I forgot your name.
Ashla.
Ashla. I was going to say it wrong. We try to engage, your marketing engages, it asks questions of the community to engage, because the more engagement it has, the algorithms realize people like your content and it grows farther and faster. Prime example, we want to give him a lot of help, right? But we don't know what business that he has started yet. And he's planning it, which stage, like Rebekah, you tell us more specifics and you can get much, much farther, much faster. And that's it.
And don't be afraid to beg family and friends to leave Google reviews, share your content as was mentioned, like and comment, all of those great things, because those family and friends and fellow small business owners in your community, you're here today and you have a community, so they can be your influencers to start.